So I love this week's episode, and I follow Mandy Moore on Instagram, and she said this was her favorite episode of the season, and I can definitely see why. And one of the reasons I really loved it, well, two of the reasons, one being that I wanted to watch the show because I love Mandy Moore, and two, it took place all in the past, and that is my favorite part of the show when it's in the late 70s / early 80s. That is just my favorite part, probably because it focuses on Mandy Moore. And I know she's in like the current present day part, but she's like 60 something. And it's just not the same. But anyway, I was looking at Twitter and it seems like everyone loved this episode. I mean, everyone loves every episode, but this one was just special. We learned a lot of stuff. Like some of the stuff we knew. It was all about, you know, the day that the big three arrived. And we knew some of the things, but I think it was really interesting to see new elements, like the whole story behind the firefighter was really cool. And Dr. K, like delving more into his life, I really like him and I thought that was super cool. It was so good. I always notice when there's like a mistake in a show, and I'm pretty sure I caught one. It doesn't mean that I didn't like this episode or it hurt the episode for me, but I just wanted to ask you guys if you saw it. When Dr. K was in the grocery store, like shopping for cereal, like the camera kind of panned up and it had like this sign where it says, you know, aisle 4 is bread and aisle 3 is chips or whatever. And it had one of the aisles marked as low carb. And I'm pretty sure that low carb is kind of a thing that just started in the past couple of years, especially since this takes place in Pennsylvania and not like California, which is more progressive. So I feel like they just used a real grocery store and kind of changed the aisles. I don't know, but I don't feel like that would have been around in 1980, which is what year we were in this episode. So just had to throw that out there because it just didn't seem right. So the firefighter, whose name is Joe, we learned so much about him, and we learned that he'd been having a lot of problems at home with his wife. So when Randall was dropped off, he was supposed to take him to the precinct, but he thought, like, after talking to his, the priest from his church, he was thinking maybe if I take the baby home to my wife, like, things can be better because his wife and him could not have kids. But she kind of freaked out. Like, honestly, she was pretty mean throughout the entire episode, and I really didn't like her. And she did not want Randall, which was sad, but it was okay because he was totally meant for his other family, his real family, that he's with now. But I was so happy at the end that she, like, came around and was not really this awful person, because she was pretty hated, I think, by all of us during this episode. I just love Jack so much. He's such a great guy, because Rebecca was having a lot of issues because she was about ready to give birth, and she forgot his birthday, and she was not being nice to him, and she kicked him out on his birthday, but he still never freaked out. He was still like the perfect gentleman. I love the scene of her going to the liquor store to buy him a muffin and squeezing the insides of a Twinkie out to make icing. I just loved it. And buying him that towel, and everything kind of fit together because we started off seeing him with the towel like at the beginning of this series. And I just love how they put this series together. I love learning more about Dr. K, who had not, let go of his wife, which is understandable because she had been dead for a year, and he still had like all her makeup out and all her clothes, and he still talked to her like when he would eat his meals. But thankfully by the end of this episode, he was eating with, I guess, a friend or a neighbor who may be a love interest for him, and he was learning kind of to let go. Just so special. I just loved it so very much. I don't know. It was just so good. I was just trying to look at my notes and see if I had anything else that we need to mention. And this is not really the type of show where there's so many points to mention or anything. And that's why I was kind of hesitant to do videos on this, because it's like we can't really theorize. I feel like the only thing we could theorize, which we kind of have talked about, is Jack and his death, which I'm not looking forward to. And I'm wondering if they will explain it, if we'll get that part of it in this season, or if we have to wait. I really like him, so that bothers me so much, and I really do believe that he died, and she had to get remarried because he died. It wasn't like they got a divorce and then he died or something. That's kind of how I feel, because she was still wearing his necklace. So I just, Miguel, he's okay, but I think we can tell that Miguel has always had like a crush on her, like even when he was married and she was married. Can't you guys tell that? I definitely can. So anyway, I loved it. I'm looking forward to the next episodes. I know that next week we'll get more present day stuff, which is fine. I like that too, but I just felt like this one was probably the best of the season. It was just so super special, and I loved it. I am excited to get things back to normal with Kelly TV. It really hasn't felt back to normal just because the shows haven't been there, and How to Get Away with Murder was supposed to premiere this week, but the inauguration stuff has pushed that back to next week, and I think things will start feeling more like good old Kelly TV then. I am going to do a reaction, and I'm planning on filming that reaction and editing it down instead of doing the live reactions, just to avoid any kind of drama with Warner Brothers or YouTube or any of that stuff, because I just don't want to deal with that, because they just automatically flag stuff before they know what it is, and then you have to wait for the process, and that's just not cool. So that's what I'm going to try to do, and then I'll definitely come back to having live chats on Fridays for How to Get Away with Murder, and then I'll also have a new video up on Saturdays, so just look forward to all of that. Plus, I will finish out this season of This Is Us, and then the CW show is coming at I think the following week, or maybe it's next week, Riverdale, which looks good and looks kind of like a mystery, so I'm going to be doing that or checking that out. But thank you for sticking with me in this kind of downtime around the holidays. Starting next week, I think things will be way more normal around here, and you'll see me a lot more, so thumbs up to that. If you haven't subscribed, I'm still trying to reach 6,000 subscribers, and since I've been kind of absent, that's been a difficult goal, but I would appreciate if you've watched me, if you're just now finding me, if you would hit that subscribe button so that I can create more videos like this about shows that you and I both enjoy. So thank you so much for watching this episode of Kelly TV. I will see you very soon with a lot more videos. Bye. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Kelly TV. I would love for you to subscribe and be a part of the Kelly TV family. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter so you can keep up with all I'm doing.